I always felt safe the day before it all happened. I was on the bike on these roads, like just where the festival was. I actually touched the three kibbutz that all of them that totally destroyed. I was in like 200 meters from the Gaza border. I just did U-turn there, and I felt safe. Like I was okay. This is Gaza, but we have our army and like it's all under control. And then suddenly the day after, it's very hard for me to imagine myself feel safe again on this road and feel safe again in my village from one side, but from the other side I know we have to come back and we have to build our community, to rebuild our community there, and we have to stay there because otherwise they got what they want and they win.
Right. Welcome and welcome back to the Marni On The Move podcast. I'm your host, Marni Salup. Today on the podcast, I am syncing up with Israeli 5-time national champion pro cyclist and Tokyo 2020 Olympian, Omer Shapira, and her husband, Guy Sagiv, who's also an Israeli pro cyclist and on the Israeli Premier Tech team. Also, we are joined by their baby, an adorable daughter, Danny. Today, we are not talking about cycling, but we are talking about Israel and the Hamas terrorist attacks on innocent Israeli civilians. This is not CNN, but it is a serious conversation, one that is near and dear to my heart. Omer was on the Marni On The Move podcast back in July 2021, episode 181, and I remembered her telling me that she lived near the Gaza Strip, and that's where she would train and ride her bike, and that her boyfriend at the time lived up in the north. So when Hamas attacked, murdered, and kidnapped Israeli citizens, I immediately reached out to all of my friends that live in Israel and past podcast guests to check in, make sure they were safe, and generally see how they were doing. Omar and Guy agreed to come onto the podcast and talk about their experience on the ground being in Israel and what they're doing now to stay safe. I'll let Omer and Guy take it from here. Now, on to our conversation. She's so cute. Congratulations.
Thanks.
And I love your Instagram with all your food. I see you have another passion.
Yeah, thank you. It was my pregnant hobby.
Yeah. I feel like it looks like you're so good. I have to try some of the recipes. So that was what you were doing before you were cycling. You're super into cooking and food.
She was worried to baking actually, like cakes and stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
And then she became an athlete, and that was not really healthy. So she tried to have more healthy food. Then that became her main passion, I guess.
Yeah. But I remember when I interviewed you back in like 2021, Omer, it was like you were going into the Tokyo Olympics, and you said that you really wanted to have a baby one day. And you talked all about Guy and how he lived in the north of Israel and how you were in the south of Israel, and how, your family inspired you to get into cycling, and here you are. 2 years later.
Yeah. So I have to say, in my head, I still wasn't prepared to be mom. Like I wanted to be mom, but I wanted to have a few more years as a cyclist. So it was mistake. It's a good mistake, yes, but it wasn't it wasn't planned.
That's always how it happens.
Yeah, so it also wasn't that easy to adjust my life to the new situation because I just was unprepared for it. But now when it's like all clear, and it's the best things I think that happened to us. Yeah.
Well, congratulations. She is absolutely adorable. And I'm such a big fan of all your cool food photography and recipes on Instagram. So congratulations for pivoting in your career and being a true athlete, able to do that.
Thank you so much.
I'm so glad that you're safe. I mean, I reached out to all of my friends in Israel to check on them and their families, and it is absolutely heartbreaking to be here in New York watching what's happening, and I know it's even worse being in Israel. And you live, Omer, before, I don't know where you were when this was all happening, but where were you both when Hamas terrorized and blew up and massacred Israel?
So I don't know if you follow my like yeah, you said you follow, but I don't know if you follow the last day. So because I shared a little bit. So I live, my parents' home is like 7 kilometers from the Gaza border. So
Right.
basically everything happened in my home area. There are not much roads around. So basically this is the roads we are training. And when we both were in Israel with Dani, it was her first visit in Israel, and we were so exciting about going to Israel with her, and like my mom and his mom like prepared the home for her and like buy some things. And normally when we are in Israel, we stay at my parents' place where everything was happened. Um, and the day before, we decided to go visit his mom, which it wasn't supposed to happen. We just had the feeling, okay, let's do it, let's go to visit her. And then apparently every cyclist that was on these roads Saturday morning were murdered, yeah.
Murdered.
And so it was kind of upper, איך אומרים, כאילו השגחה עליונה.
Yeah.
So many cyclists were killed on this road this Saturday. So we were in Guy's mom house, and we wake up Saturday morning to early bike ride, but in his place. And then we just started to hear that there is some rockets in the south, which where I live, it's quite normal. Yeah, it's sadly, but it's
Right.
common.
Sadly,
Like
but yeah.
sometimes we are just at a rocket attack and we just go to the shelter. So that was when we leave to ride. And then after about an hour of ride, we got call from my mom, and she screamed in the phone, the terrorists are here around. Dad, go with the gun out. I can hear the
Shooting.
the shooting. I'm in the shelter. I don't know what to do. And then like I was like, what the fuck? What terrorists? Like it's never happened before. And like in my village, in my place, and still, we thought it's like one איך אומרים תקרית?
Just in one incident, like
Yeah, one
one
incident
case.
and not that big things. But still I was kind of in a panic attack, and I sit on his wheel and he was riding as fast as he can back home. We were home after I think 40 minutes or something like this, since my mom called, and like I was, oh my god, my dad is out with the gun. But when we entered to his home, like the news was open and we started understand what just happened. So it was apparently like איך אומרים ממדים? The size of this event was clear, I think, just 3 days after, because it was about 1,500 terrorists into Israel in many places, which was like on the road, like every few hundred meters, they put some terrorists with a gun. Everyone that go on this road was murdered, and then they try to enter almost each village in my area. It's about 20 village, and they did it successfully in 7 village. 4 of them like
We're gone.
They
like,
massacred the entire
completely
village.
gone. In my village, like the civil guard, which my dad was part of it, they were able to control them, like they win, I would say. They won, sorry. And then even like when my dad, still we had some injured people in my village, so my dad tried to take them to the hospital, and he was that close to go on the road that, as I told you, each one that was on this road were killed.
No matter if it was on a bike, or
Yeah, and
motorcycle,
he
or a
got
car.
note from the police, don't go on this road. So he tried to go off road, and then he saw terrorists off road, like they were everywhere. So he was in the army in a good position, so he knew how to manage it, and apparently he put the injured people in the hospital and made it back safely. But it was just crazy. And then the stories start to arrive, and the stories are, you cannot handle it, like you cannot believe that this is the reality, and it's just happened in my home. Like
Right.
it's friends, it's family of friends, it's people I grew up with in my age, were murdered and were
Kidnapped.
kidnapped.
It's awful.
It's like as Omer said before already, when it's somewhere else, like for example in Ukraine, it sounds
Right.
terrible, but it's far away. But when it's that close to us and we were supposed to be there, like then it hits you differently. Then
Yeah.
it really puts you in a different perspective, and you look at things are just a lot different than when it's somewhere else. So I can imagine for you, of course, it sounds terrible, but it's really hard to understand how it is from different perspective when it's that close to you.
I cannot imagine. I mean, being here in New York, um, and watching the news and seeing these horrible videos that are being put out, and all of the children and families that have been massacred and kidnapped and are being tortured, and just people that are being killed. It's awful. And have never, I mean, thank God I have not experienced anything like this. I mean, I lived here during 9/11. I did not live near the World Trade Center. I lived about, I want to say, like, 4 miles away, but I feel like this is that times 500, and it's even worse because there are people being taken hostage and being massacred and tortured, and it's just so awful. And then, the anti-Semitism around the world is disgusting. And I think this has nothing to do, like, I just think this is a massive terrorist attack on Israel and on Jewish people everywhere, and on Palestinians, because they too are being attacked and held by their own people that they believe in.
I agree with you, and we always used to think that there's lots of miserable people on the other side, and we always had some kind of understanding and empathy for them and for the normal civilians. But once you see the pictures of that, they released those pictures, and when the Hamas people brought back the kidnapped people, like the Israelis, no matter if it was soldiers or old people or babies or women or whatever,
injured, bloody, and the normal
they threw them away into their streets, and the crowd, like the normal civilians, they were celebrating, and they were like super happy about seeing injured, almost dead people brought back from Israel into Gaza. And then you think about they are truly happy, like they are celebrating, like they won a war. But this is just horrible. So
it's disgusting.
Sorry, but I have no mercy for them now. Of course, I'm not saying all of them are bad people,
right?
But seeing those pictures, that just makes you feel so bad. This is unhuman. This is like against all of our values about how we grew up and about appreciating life. They just don't appreciate life as much as we do.
No.
And this is terrorism, pure evil.
It is pure evil. And Guy, you're from the north, so where are you from? Near like Haifa or that north?
Yeah, not far. Just a bit south of Haifa. So we are out of reach almost from the rockets area from Gaza. but also not close to Lebanon border, which is also heating up right now.
Right. I was watching the news.
Yeah, I think the quietest area in Israel at the moment so far. So
yeah. I saw they were getting some Americans and American Israelis out of Israel, which honestly, I think, I know that you guys went to Spain, which is where you have your other home, where you live, where you train, which must have been really hard to do. Talk to me a little bit about that. And did you want to take your family, the rest of your family with you, but they wouldn't come?
So for me it was very when it
for us,
started, like, yeah, for us. So I even didn't thought to come back. I was like, especially in this bad time, we feel more belong and like we need to stay there and save the country and to not run away. And this is also other Israeli around the world behave like normally. If there is a war, like everyone want to run away, and as the Israeli, we all want to come back to protect the country, to fight, to join the army, to contribute to the effort. So it was very nice to feel and to see. But as I personally felt, I am not able to contribute because my dad stay in my village to work, like to protect who stay there, because still some agriculture and old people that couldn't live stay there. So we stay to protect and we stay to work and to do some stuff and to help to the army. My siblings are in the army, so they are in the border. My sibling, my cousins, and my mom, she is psychological, so she helps with trauma and like to try to איך אומרים? למנוע,
to
Mental
prevent.
health.
To prevent post trauma
Events.
to people, and so everyone found their own way to contribute, and I felt very unuseful because I'm breastfeeding and I couldn't go out to help some way, and I was very frustrated from the situation and also very scared. Like, I think normally I'm a bit cynical about those situations, and I feel very brave and I'm not panic easily, but I felt very scared. Like, I think it's part of being mom. Like, I felt I need to protect her. And then I understand that my way to contribute is like to raise my kid, like to raise my daughter in the safest way possible, and to save her mentally health, and like she will be the next generation of Israel. It's clear for us we are going to stay in Israel, and there in Israel, she like we both and our family were so stressed, and all the environment was so bad, and she was panic, like basically since it started she started crying, and she didn't stop for 1 week because she felt our energy and like our stress hormone. And this is the main reason we decided to come back, to protect her, because I want her to be healthy mentally and safe. And I think if I do this in the best way possible, it's the best way I can contribute to the future of our country. And then second things, like as I told in the beginning, we normally, like our Israeli home, it's my parents' home, and now it's like
it wasn't possible to live there anymore.
They took everything out of the village, just people that has to stay there,
just essentials,
stay there. So
your whole family is now fighting against Hamas in Israel.
Fighting, some like also
so her brother and father are contributing. Her father and brother are in the army, and your sister and her mom and other sister are basically refugees in their own country, kind of. So they have to run away and find
so at the moment they are in Eilat, like which is also nice because all the hotels in Eilat open their door free to to the people from
The Gaza border.
yeah.
From the
This
That's very nice. Are a lot of hotels or they don't, I haven't heard anyone talking about that. I mean, that's a really nice thing that they're doing to give homes to the Israeli people that
yeah,
lost their homes.
It's very, very like a feeling of solidarity among the Israeli people. So
Yeah.
we try to support each other, each one whatever he can do. Like either restaurants are making food for the reserve, so all the soldiers, reserves, and hotels are opening their doors to the
and normal
civilians.
people open their doors and just say, we have like three bedroom, you can come to it. Like many people do it, which is very nice. And like this is the good things of being Israeli. We are very as a unit in
Hard times, we were there for each other.
we had
Yeah.
like bad year, I would say, to the Israeli people, almost
With politics and all
איך
this,
אומרים מלחמת אזרחים?
almost like, not far from civil war,
Yeah,
or
between
just
two
violence.
side of the politics map. But now
Yeah.
this time when extremely things happen, we are just very strong together, and like we cry for each other, we pray for each other, we like everyone want to contribute and to go and to do some things. And if I don't do something, I feel very bad about it. So it's very, this is the best, the good things that happened now.
Did you have any friends at the music festival?
Not in the music festival.
People we know, but
Yeah.
not like close friends, but some
Yeah.
of those close friends from the kibbutzes around, they were either killed or kidnapped.
Yeah, I know many
So-
people that.
So before this happened, before Saturday, I mean, what was life like living in the South, Omer? I mean, you had said it was, very mellow, not a lot going on when we talked back in 2021.
Yeah, I just felt always safe there. Always knew there is this possibility that I will hear alarm. I was quite it was quite normal for me to go to the shelter. I have 15 seconds, I go to the shelter, I hear boom, and I go out, and normally nothing happened. And I felt safe there.
This just by the way, this is already a fucked up reality that
Yeah.
we got used to have rockets flying over our heads every now and then.
And it's like, it's just normal.
Imagine for you in New York or in the US, just have alarm and you have to run to the shelter. You have 15 seconds to run to the shelter. Then it's like almost, I wouldn't say daily, but it's not unusual to happen. And we just got used to it, and somehow it was okay. But this is not okay.
Not okay.
And I think there's no other country in this world that would have stand that long of just having missiles every now and then. And then when they decided to go full on and just break the border and go with 1,500 terrorists into Israel, this was unusual, and apparently no one was ready for that kind of thing. And this took the whole country by surprise.
Yeah, but anyway, I always felt safe. The day before it all happened, I was on the bike on these roads, like just where the festival was. I actually touched the three kibbutz that all of them that totally destroyed. I was in like 200 meters from the Gaza border. I just did U-turn there, and I felt safe. Like I was okay. This is Gaza, but we have our army, and like it's all under control. And then suddenly the day after, it's very hard for me to imagine myself feel safe again on this road and feel safe again in my village from one side, but from the other side, I know we have to come back and we have to build our community, to rebuild our community there, and we have to stay there because otherwise they got what they want and they win.
Right.
And like this is our only country and our only land, and we will fight to stay there, and we will work to feel safe there again, and to feel I don't know how, because luckily I'm on the good side of this event. Like I have
Yes.
Like all my family from both sides, my mom and my dad are there, which is like 7 families from my mom's side because she has 7 siblings, and and 3 families from my dad's side and all of their children. So they all was in the shelter for hours, like for 2 days they all was in the shelters where everyone hear the shooting out and like texting in the WhatsApp, and it was like big stress. But luckily it didn't touch us personally. Say
Yeah.
hello, Dad. Say hello.
Hello, Danny. This is your first English conversation.
No, she
Mani
knows.
Shma.
Yeah,
That's it. I've got
I
Mani
think we
Shma.
don't need this.
that's enough.
Oh, she's so
Um,
gorgeous. She is
but
so adorable.
Danny, yeah. So still, it didn't touch me, but like, I don't know how other people will come back to this area.
Yeah,
But I just know we have to.
you will. I mean, listen, I mean, it's awful. And you're so lucky, Omer. Like, you guys are so lucky. And you're right. Like, you are bringing this next generation of people that are going to live in Israel, that are going to defend the country. And I mean, I know that I'm sure it was really hard for you to leave your family. So there's no way I could imagine being in Israel, but just being here, like with everything going on, it's scary, to say the least. Yeah.
And this is just not right, because
No.
when Hamas attacks Israel, for example, you won't see any Muslim people or any Arab people try to defend, because they have no danger. Like the Jewish people or the Christians, they will not
Yeah.
try to attack them. But once the other side happens, like once Israel try to attack or just pay back Gaza or
Right.
whoever it be, there is protection, because it needed to be protection on the Jewish people and the synagogues and the Jewish communities around the world. And this just shows you that the Islam is just so violent, and there is just hate against Jewish people, and this is just
For
not right.
for centuries. I mean, these are terrorist groups that even when, we caught Osama bin Laden, like they still have more people that are coming up and rising up. So it's like, even if you take out the leader, they're always going to be there.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, I don't know, what the best way is to stop them. It's like, there's no stopping them. And it's just like, you buy yourself time.
I think this is their mentality. This is their way of life. It's like we appreciate life, they appreciate death, and
Yeah.
this is never gonna be the same.
It's
And
never going to end.
until they will change their mentality and their beliefs,
Yeah.
there's no other hope, I guess.
Well, they're brainwashed. So
Yeah,
they don't like, that's how they're educated.
exactly.
It's
We can
terrifying.
now some videos from Gaza that how they interviewed their kids about Israel and what do they think about Israel. And you see they're just young kids. They just say hatred words and they just want to kill people. And this is not how kids should be raised. And this is not a conversation you have with kids and at any age.
Yeah.
And you see they're having terror camps. Like how do they teach them from like 5-year-old to become terrorists? And this is their way of raising kids
Yeah,
to become
actually,
terrorists.
like my brother, sorry, he fight in the kibbutzes during like Saturday and Sunday morning, and he told us some of the terrorists are 12 and 13 years old, like with
Oh
guns.
my God.
And then they also found their like group of 9 to 10 years old, like very young kids that just enter to Gaza and celebrating what happening there, and they see everything. Hey, Chuku, Chuku.
Danny is also talking.
And so like the Israeli army just took them and like put their hands, and because initially they thought maybe we can question them, like ask them
Right.
some some things and to get some knowledge of what just happening here, but then they just brought them back to Gaza. But you can see that from age of 8, 9, 10,
They
they're
haven't.
just part of it. It's more it's not just, it's worse than brainwash. It's not just something they hear, they are really part of it.
Showing kind of support to Israel, they get so much hate on social
Yeah.
media. And yeah,
I also think it's always easier if you're not deep involved and it's not touch you. I think it's easier to support or to feel sorry for the weaker side,
Yeah.
which is not us in this case. Like they win us this Saturday morning, but in
Yeah.
general we are stronger than they win in one event. They did big damage. It never happened before. It was terrible. It was very bad, but we are stronger, and it's hard for people to see to support the stronger side. And I know, like, very good friends of us, they don't see it as terror because they don't go into details. There is many fake news from both sides,
Yes.
and they can see also the Gaza side, and like they know how to do it very well, like to show the world how poor they are and how bad their situation. And
Hmm.
if you don't go into details, you can just think it's a fight between Israel and Palestine.
an even
Right.
fight.
Yeah.
An
Uh,
even fight.
so again, we are not judge,
Yeah.
but
It's just, yeah, people just don't know the full story. And I
Yeah.
think it also is lacking of a bit of um, showing the true story, like the other side is doing.
Yeah.
Pretty good, actually.
actually, even
But
for us, like, the media, they don't tell us as Israeli the full story because it's too bad, and they think it's יורידו לנו, take down our moral as a country.
Yes.
But
Hmm.
like, I heard some terrible things, and then my brother, as I told you, he fight there in the kibbutz. He came visit us, and he told us it's worse than what you see in the TV. You cannot believe it's real. And when I hear it, and I think like the media take, I think the interest of the media is to show us the worst things, the bad things, like to shock us, and then I hear it was worse than it.
There's so much misinformation.
yeah, and again, I've said it before. It's not about
Yeah.
politics.
No.
We don't support our current prime minister, for example.
Right.
We are not
Right.
supporting our current government, but this doesn't mean we support terror. It's just
Yeah.
I also, at the moment, it's hard for me to think like normal civilians, like kids and women, killed in Gaza. But the main problem is the Hamas use them as
human shield.
human shield.
Yeah.
Like, our army told them before, go out from your home. We need to bomb this place because this is Hamas shelter or Hamas
Yeah.
place, and like, you shoot rockets from this place, so go out because we bombed this place. But then Hamas told them, if you move, we kill you.
Right.
So
Yeah.
they have nothing to do.
They're gonna die anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But do you feel like there are hostages or even still alive?
And from the past experience, like, were some cases of one soldier then take, and then with agreement, like
So
we
I think they'll do their best to keep them alive
yeah.
because
Okay.
it's so valuable, and they can negotiate harder on live people. So
Okay.
if the moment when the moment will come for to trade the hostages, so they'll want to free most of their terrorists from the Israeli prison, and we will want our people back. It will be more worth more live people. So
Okay.
I think they'll try to keep them alive, but this doesn't mean they will not hurt them a lot. Like I really don't want to think and describe here the things they might do for all of them. Like, yeah. So
Yeah.
but
Okay.
I think they'll try to keep them alive, and yeah.
And trade them back.
Simply because it worked more after in the negotiation part. The Palestinian-Israeli conflict, if I can, I think another. There was the first woman prime minister of Israel 50 years ago. She Golda Meir. She said it quite clear and quite sharp. If Israel, if Palestine or the Arabs will put their guns down, there will be peace the next day. But if Israel will put their guns down, there will be no Israel the next day. And this is just true, but that's the way it is. Simple as that. And now we can move on to the next part. Now we are in Girona, as we said before, mainly because of our little baby. And yeah, this is our home in the moment. And we just felt almost like refugees in our own country for some days.
Yeah.
And Danny definitely didn't like it. And now we are trying to obviously get the updates from over here and try to live our life and do whatever we can to support our country from far.
Do you feel safe in Spain? I'm not going to say where you are, but do you feel safe where you are though? Like as Jewish people, like what's the culture and vibe like where you are?
Yeah, I think Spain is a very safe country, even though we did saw some protests before we came over. Our friends sent us some pictures, but most of the protests are not violent. So there's no violence, at least. Yeah, I hope there will not be in the future too. But even though we did saw some protests, yeah, they're not violent, and there's quite a bit of Israelis at the moment around here. So we almost feel, we feel part of the community.
That's good.
Yeah. And yeah, we do feel safe here.